that's shown in this assignment. There are a number of content that are discussed in this assignments, like we have discussed about ITSM, we have discussed about various ethics, various ethical theories. We've also discussed about the code of ethics. There are a service life cycle that is available, and there is a value creation, and a case study is very important in this assignment that is discussed regarding the TCS and Tata Communication. And then we have a conclusion of what we have found out. Introduction to ITSM. So ITSM is a discipline for managing IT operation. ITSM is a part of service science that focuses on IT related operations as a service delivery and a service support. ITSM is a broadly involves IT planning, service delivery, support, IT related. ITMs basically ensures that the appropriate mix of P's and M's should be there, which ultimately provide best productive value to an organization. ITSM, we have 5 main concerns of ITSM, that is users, service provided by IT, we have a quality, that is to ensure that the quality of product is effective and efficient, we have a cost, we have business under which company perform its financial and activities to achieve its goal. We have ethics. So ethics are some beliefs of society which differentiate between right or wrong behavior. Ethics are the right way of living in a society according to society. For this, certain rules, principles, and values are established by society. There are basically 2 types of standards that are found in professional codes of ethics, which are maintaining client confidentiality and not using client's information for your personal use. There are difference between ethics and values, as both sound similar, but there is a difference in their meaning. Ethics are related to behavior, whereas the values are related to beliefs of the customer, of society. Ethical decision-making model. So the ethical decision-making model provides a mechanism for planning and thinking in a critical manner for resolving ethical dilemmas. The main goal is to provide a framework for best decision-making in case of ethical dilemma. The model revolves around 6 basic steps. That is, first is identification of ethical dilemma. In this, we find out what is the basic dilemma a customer or society or a man is dealing with. Then we find out the gather information regarding that. We have to find various information regarding the dilemma and how we can solve it. Then we find various options to solve such dilemma. We have to apply the ethical principles on that. And then we make a final decision in which we implement such decision at last. That's all about my slides. Next, I have to hand over this to Najveer Kaur. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Najveer Kaur and my student ID is 30378978. Can you next please? Next slide. Your mic is off.
Just a second, Nazir.
So there is ethical theory. In ethical theory, there is a deontology. In the deontology, it's also called duty and science, and the one of the sort of standardizing speculations with respect to those choices and ethical require. There is a utilitarianism. According to the consequences of the utilitarian, incorporates all the good and bad delivered by the act. In contrast, within the result of alternative acts is not incredible. A few utilitarians do not respect the choice between them as an ethical issue. There is a social contract based theory. In this hypothesis say that individuals live together in society in agreement with understanding that sets up ethical and political rules of behavior. Next. There is a code of ethics. In the code of ethics, the first one is character based ethical theory. It also referred to as a virtue ethics. It mainly focus on virtue ethics is to assurance of the what make an individual or a character good, ideal moral content that a great person reliably perform great activities. Second one is a modern ethical approach. In modern ethic is only concerned with the whether a person act abuse a moral standard. For modern ethics, the moral task of life is to comply to a set of ethical rules. In the third one, professional code of ethics, uh, it it gives your worker with a set of rules they can utilize to form a great choice within The working environment, it permits you to set a pattern desire for great for what is socially worth and how professionals should approach issues. And the next one is IT service management. In ITSM refers to the entirely of IT related activity provided an organization including policies and strategies that help to plan, design, deliver, operate and control various processes in order to fulfill customer. In the best practice, we have techniques that are considered to be superior to other techniques and thus offer to best outcome. There's a good practice is basically an adaptation to a best practice but modifying to a suit and organization specific needs rather than just picking up and applying to a best practice. Now I'm handed over to my friend Guneet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Guneet and my student ID is 30376864. By now, we've understood with what Najveer has discussed, we've understood that ITSM is a very holistic process. And so is with everything that involves IT in an organization. I'll be elaborating on ITIL in IT Infrastructure Library. ITIL is a set of precise practices that focuses on aligning IT services with the needs of the business, and it is usually done by adopting good practices. The two main important parts in ITIL are that it is a set of precise practices and it is done by aligning IT services with the needs of the business. The service lifecycle is a continuous approach to improving IT processes. It includes service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, and continual service improvement. CSI or continuous service improvement is a very important part of the service lifecycle, and it just does not mean that continuously or improving the performance, IT performance every day, but it's a very complex process where a lot of monitoring is involved and a lot of prediction for the future is also involved, which also includes the future budgeting uh, and the safety for the future. So that's so CSI is a very important part of the service lifecycle. Now we'll be touching upon BRM or business relation management. BRM is very much a part of ITIL and focuses on aligning IT services and customer needs at strategic and tactical levels. It is very important. The 2 points, strategic and tactical, are very important. If the IT services are not aligned with the strategy of the business, then it is a useless exercise. It won't sustain itself for very long. It'll be a futile exercise. Next slide, please. Value creation. Now, the term value, it seems like an everyday term. However, it is in itself a very complex and integrated term. Value basically has two components: utility and warranty. Utility is basically the functionality that is offered by the product or service in question, and warranty is the guarantee that the service will meet its requirements. Service model deals with value creation for a set of customers by connecting the demand for service with the assets of the service provider and the assets of the customer. Here, we see that value creation is only happening when the assets of the customer and the assets of the organization providing the service are aligned together. That is very important. The two components of service model are structure and dynamics. Structure basically deals with the set of assets used to deliver the service requirements, and dynamics, this defines the flow of resources, interactions, activities, etc. Moving on to the next slide. We've got a case study of TCS and Tata Communications. TCS is Tata Consultancy Services and Tata Communications. This case study touches on the aspect where TCS collaborates with Tata Communications to bring their entire CCTV camera survey to the digital platform, from physical platform to the digital platform. And of course, it is a very innovative exercise, and there's a lot of high-end technology that has been used. But what we're trying to focus over here through this case study is that it's not about the technology or the innovation. Of course, that is very important, but it's about how IT managed to align itself with the strategic objectives of both the companies. And we've shared the vision of both the companies in our presentation, in our report. But just to elaborate on that, both the companies are very much focused on innovative practices and also to a green future. And that is how, and we see in this case study how the same has been aligned with how the IT of the company has aligned its objectives with the strategy. So the challenges, of course, were the IT team at TCS was spending huge amounts of time, resources, man-hours in handling CCTV data from over 6,000 plus cameras across its 150 plus centers. And this led to a lot of CO2 emission, nearly 760 tons of CO2 emissions. And also videotapes were sent through the use of transportation. They used to come and go. And this was a lot of there was a lot of time delays and a very lethargic process. And this was completely digitalized. So collaboration and aligning service needs with customer needs, and that is how this was done. And the result is for everybody to see. It's nearly saved 760 tons of CO2 per annum and 4,000 plus man hours. Concluding on this, the case shows us how innovative solutions were devised, how collaboration was done to achieve the specific goals. Um, However, in all this, the companies did not sway away from their respective visions. This shows us that the goals of IT service management is to create underlying value for the company, and that is its main objectives. Um, that is all we have for you, and hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.